Welcome, church. So lovely to see you all. If you're hanging out in the hallway, we invite you to come on in. All right, this is kind of a rowdy song. Here we go. Such a rule and reign in our hearts again. His grace in us we that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. All right, that was beautiful. Well, welcome, Ken. He's going to give us some announcements.
All right, good morning. You may be seated. Welcome to Columbia View this morning. It's good to have you all here. We are like short on children today. This is just like crazy. We had slides. First, we just want to remind you guys, October 25th, there's going to be a men's breakfast. And we would just really encourage you guys to come and take part with that. You can sign up online. I'm guessing that probably next week there'll be a sheet out in the foyer. Is there a sheet out there already? Okay, to sign up for it. That'll be 8:30 to 11:30, and we've got a guest speaker coming in. That should be fantastic. Next slide. Marriage Live, end of November 22nd. That's Saturday night. And I believe we are hosting that here. This is a joint with the Hispanic church that comes in after us, King of Glory. And this is going to be kind of a joint marriage event. We really want everybody to take part in that. It should be just a lot of fun. It'll be fun to kind of do something together with the two churches as well. No one's getting married. It is a marriage thing to help your marriage. It's like a date night with people talking about marriage and what you can do to have better marriage. All right. Okay, so kids, I especially have this part set up for you guys. So do you ever wonder what we're teaching when we're in the big church? A little bit? All right, so a couple weeks ago, we're just going to do a little bit of review here. We were talking about identity. So identity is, who are we as believers? Who are we? Not even that. Who has God made each of us to be? So when you're at school, sometimes there's kids that are like really cool, and there's kids that are really smart, and there are kids that are really fast, and there are kids that have a lot of different things. And when we look at them, sometimes we go, man, I wish I was like that kid. But Eliana, excuse me. I'm so good with names, right? Eliana and Layton, at least I got that one right. We are not like anybody else, right? So God has designed us to be us. So there's a verse in the Bible that says the potter, that's talking about God, has the right to make out of the same lump of clay for people for different purposes. And one day when I was driving down the road, I was just thinking about all this stuff. And I was like, God, I want to know who you've made me to be. And I said, God, if what you want me to do is be you remember what it was, everybody? Toilet. A toilet, right? Remember we had a toilet sitting in here? If you have made me to be a toilet, because he makes all this stuff out of this potter makes stuff out of the clay. If you've designed me to be a toilet, I'm okay with that. I just need to know that that's what God's made me to be. If he wants me to be a race car, that's fine too, right? But I want to be what God's designed me to be. And Layton and Eliana, that's what, I got that right, didn't I? All right. That's what we've been talking about, is we want to figure out who God made us to be and be really good at that. Okay, slide if you don't mind. You got it? I don't have my clicker out yet. Then a couple weeks ago, we were talking about a couple questions. And I said, remember, pick somebody who's the strongest person that you know and who loves you the most. Remember that? And what I said was, there was a guy named Coach Mather, and he was the strongest man that I have ever known. Well, my coach, he could bench press. You're laying down and you're bench pressing. He could lift 500 pounds. That's heavy, right? The bar bends when you're doing 500 pounds. No, that's like 2.5 of me. I wish it was 5 of me, but it's not. Right? And he was really strong. But when I it's easy for me to go, he was strong, but it's really easy for me to go, God is stronger. That's not a hard one. And if you look at that little picture over here, this one on the right above Johan's head, can you see that little tiny, tiny dot? The smallest one? That is our sun. So the sun that gives us light and gives power to everything and everything that we have, that's that little tiny dot. And there are stars that are all the way up to that red one in size. And there are 7, they just came out with, we know that there are 7 trillion galaxies. Trillion. Galaxies, not stars, but galaxies, because of telescopes. And so that's easy. It's easy for me to go, you know what? God is stronger than my friend who lifts 500 pounds. It's just like easy, right? But when we were talking about who loves me the most, and I said, who I picked was my dad. My dad's here today. He's hiding back there. I said, my dad is the person who loves me most. I know my dad always has my best interest at heart. I know that he will sacrifice for himself to take care of me. I know that. And what I said was, it's kind of hard. Just like God is more powerful than my friend that can lift the weights, God loves me more than my dad. But that one's harder for me to really hang on to. That's hard for me to kind of believe. Yes, he is. Yes. But in Ephesians 3, and that was our verse for the day, it says, and I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have the power to grasp how high, how wide, how long, and high and deep the love of Christ is, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge. So that's the problem. God's love is so big that it surpasses our ability to understand it. Okay? So we prayed as a group, and we asked God to put in our hearts the unknowable love that he has for us, because that takes a supernatural miracle. Then we talked about a different thing. It's like, if we are experiencing that love, and if God's love is like an ocean, then we talked about surfing. Have you guys ever gone surfing? Have you ever been in the ocean? Okay, you've been in the ocean. So when you're standing in the ocean and the waves are coming at you, you ever feel that point when the wave hits you and it kind of knocks you back? But then it goes past you, right? Because it keeps going. Unless you get deep enough that the wave knocks you over, right? So the wave comes, it hits us and it passes us. And we talked about surfing, and that in surfing, you're using the power of the wave. So, sorry, McKenna, hold on. So the wave comes, and you have to get your surfboard, you have to paddle, because you need to get your speed of your surfboard and the speed of the wave combined at the same. So if that happens, then the board drops over the front of the wave as it forms, and then the wave pushes you. So instead of going past you, it pushes you. And we have this picture of the love of God. It says, for Christ's love compels me. It pushes me. And so when I'm in relationship with that love, when I can experience that love and I know what that love is like, then I go with it. And so my little girls, my granddaughters, I saw that this week. So we were at a store, and they were both going to get something. One of them got in trouble and didn't get to get their thing. So that really sucks, right? When you don't get to take something home and the other one does. And so one was crying and was really sad. And the other one said, you know what? You can open my thing with me. And I remember we got back to the house, and they were up in their rooms, in the one room, and one of them was sharing with her sister. And I whispered, I didn't even whisper, I just mouthed the words. I said, thank you. Because that was, see, that's the love of God, because all love is God's love. And that she was being carried on by that love and doing a loving thing. Does that make sense? All right. So the girls, that's what we have been talking about the last few weeks. We're going to talk more about God's love in here this Sunday, but you guys are dismissed for class now.
Bye, kids. We'll miss you. All right. We invite you to stand and sing if you're willing and able. When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of glory died, my riches gain, I count the loss and for concerns on all my pride. This next song, we'll come back in the message, so pay attention. It will be a test later. Your love is devoted, like a ring of solid gold, like a vow that is tested, a covenant of old. Your love is enduring through the winter rain and beyond the horizon. Merciful today, faithful you have been, faithful you will be. Pledge yourself to me, that is why I sing your praise. Will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Ooh. father the orphan. Kindness makes us whole. You show their weakness. Strength becomes our own. You're making me like you, clothing me in white, bringing beauty from ashes. You will have your bride, free of all her guilt, rid of all her shame, known by her true name. And it's why I sing your praise will ever be on my lips, never be on my lips. Your praise will never be on my lips, never be on my lips. Your praise will never be on my lips, never be on my lips. Your praise will never be on my lips. You will be praised, you will be praised. Angels and saints sing worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. Angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. Angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. You will be praised, you will be praised. Angels and saints we sing worthy are you, Lord. And it's why I sing your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Your praise will ever be on my lips, ever be on my lips. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. The overwhelming, never-ending reckless love of God. He chases me down, fights without reason, 99. I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending reckless love of God. I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, He chases me down, fights without reason, 99. I don't deserve it, still you give yourself Gracious God, thank you for how these songs remind us of who you are, God. God, we sometimes forget who we are. Precious children, God. We're your precious child. It's hard to think the creator of the universe created stars that we don't have a number to describe could love us. God, we thank you that you came down as human to be with us. And we thank you that you died and was resurrected. We rest in that grace. We rest in that truth, God. We love you. And together we say, amen.
So what does that mean, right? What's the reckless love of God mean? If we started off and we turned to Psalm 23, but you don't have to because it's going to be on the slides. Am I going to get this to work today? I am on. It was working earlier. And it doesn't matter which way I face it. All right, so you're going to have to help me. All right, so if we were... Oh, okay. How many of you guys know the 23rd Psalm? Any of you know the 23rd Psalm? I mean, like, that seems like one of, like, most universal psalms. Where do we hear that a lot? Funerals, right? Memorial services and funerals. And sometimes it's a prayer when we're just having a really hard time, right? Let's look at that. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." Okay, so what part did I mark? Okay, so which part was underlined? Follow, all right? So if we were Hebrew scholars, which I am not, and I'm guessing nobody else is here is either, but you'd have to trust me on this one. That word follow, when you look at the word follow, that feels more like a shadow, right? I'm walking and my shadow is going with me. It kind of follows me in my shadow and me, right? But that word really is more of a military word. It's like pursues me, hunts me, chases me. So that's really saying, surely your goodness, your mercy, your love will chase me down. It'll hunt me down. Relentlessly pursue me all the days of my life. All right, did you get me a new one? Let's see if I can make it work. Okay, I got to go backwards. All right. So when we were at Men's Roundup, we were up at Men's Roundup a few weeks ago, the second week of September. And and I'd like preached just prior to that, and that's when we were talking about the love of God and the surfing thing, and that whole concept of it's sometimes hard for me to buy into, like I can, with my head, I can buy into the fact that God loves me more than my earthly dad loves me. Because I've got a good dad. So some people, your dad maybe not so great, so maybe it's not that hard. But my dad, I know he loves me, and I know God loves me, but like when things are really hard, do I really believe that God's gonna have my back? And I say yes, because I know that's true, but that comes through experience, right? How do I know that my earthly daddy loves me? Because he's taken care of me all these years. As a kid, as a young man, as an adult, and I told you some stuff about real estate that he helped me off, and just, even when I screwed him over, he was more concerned about me than him. So if my earthly dad can somehow love me like that, man, my heavenly dad must really love me. And then I touched on this thing about approval and how a lot of us have tried to chase our parents' love by doing things that they would approve of. If I do that, if I act this way, if they're church people, I go to church, then my dad's gonna love me because he approves of what I'm doing. And we're like, I just touched on that. I was like, God is not like that. And so we went to men's roundup, and when we were at roundup, the first lesson, which I was not there for because I got there late, but I got there just in time for the guys to all regather and for us to have our talk about the session kind of thing. And we, the verse that they had covered was the story of the good, not the good shepherd, but of the, what? The prodigal son, thank you. And that whole theme about, I still feel like I have to earn my daddy's love. So we're gonna jump into this kind of like in full throttle and really just kind of look at this whole issue. So we're gonna start in Luke 15. Jesus is telling a story, telling a parable, using a fictional story to make a truth understandable. So Jesus told them this picture story. What if one of you had 100 sheep? And who he's talking to, let's get context. Who he's talking to is a bunch of Pharisees, religious leaders, people that they thought they were pretty well dialed. Like they were following the law of Moses and they were doing it right. They had the knowledge and they were doing it right. And Jesus, and then what they say to him, what they're saying amongst themselves, is that guy Jesus, he eats with the sinners and he hangs out with the tax collectors and the prostitutes and all those people. So this is the story Jesus tells them. He says, what if one of you had 100 sheep and you lost one of them? Would you not leave the 99 sheep, go back and look for the one that was lost until you found it? Would he do that? Would he go look for the lost sheep? Yes, it would be 99 if he lost one. That's my granddaughter. So he's picturing this, and this has to do with that reckless love thing. So you're a shepherd, and you've got a bunch of sheep. One of them disappears, and sheep don't disappear too much because they tend to hang out together. Sheep are followers. But this one, every once in a while, you have a sheep that they just like to get away. And so this sheep is gone, and you're like, I'm going to go hunt this sheep because I don't want to lose him. Now you're going out into the wilderness, and what are you afraid that your sheep is going to run into? Wolves, lions, right? Predators of some kind. So if your lamb can run into a cheetah, a lion, a wolf, what could the shepherd run into? The same thing, right? So David talked about when he was out shepherding that he killed both a lion and a bear. Okay? So this shepherd is taking this risk to go pursue the sheep. So he goes, finds the sheep, and when you find it, you're happy as you carry it back on your shoulders. Then you would go to your house, and you'd call your friends and neighbors, and you'd say to them, "Be happy with me because I have found my sheep that was lost." I tell you, speaking to these Pharisees, to these religious leaders who are looking down on the people that Jesus is hanging out with, I tell you, there will be more joy in heaven because of one sinner who is sorry for his sins and turns from them than from the 99 people right with God who do not have sins to be sorry for. So he's like, I'm going to go find, and when I go find, I'm going to be really happy, and we're going to celebrate, and even heaven celebrates. And the little black line there says, Jesus pursues the unworthy one, the sinful one, and he helps them turn from wrong to right and celebrates them. But here's the question. Because we're going to look at kind of a subplot underneath these stories. Did Jesus love them before or after they turned back to him? Always, okay? So the answer would then be before, right? Jesus loved them before they turned back, while they were still astray. Okay, so let's remember that one. Now we go to the story that they used at Men's Roundup. And this is the story of, it's called the prodigal son, but we're going to look at it with a little bit different slant, and that is, maybe we would call it, because the titles aren't, the title prodigal son is not biblical. That is something we add on so that we know what the stories are, right? So I'm going to retitle that, The Story of the Dad Who Had Kids That He Loved, and They Did Not Understand His Love. All right, so it says, I will come, excuse me. Okay, I guess we're not going to do that. I'm going to tell you most of the story. We're not going to read the whole story. Okay, so you have this dad, and he's a fairly wealthy guy, and he has these two boys, and they're young men, and one of them the younger one says to his dad, "Hey, Dad, I've been thinking about this, and I know you normally get your inheritance when you die, but that seems a long time from now. So what I was thinking was maybe you could give me half of your wealth right now so I could invest it and do good things with it, enjoy my life, and not wait till I'm old before I get it." Should I zip up my pants? That seems reasonable. And so the dad goes, okay, to his son's surprise. And his dad cuts him a check for a big chunk of money. And so the boy goes off, and he goes to a distant country, and he does not invest the money, but he does spend the money, and a lot of loose living, a lot of hot girls, and by the time, it doesn't take that long, right, to spend half of a fortune. And so he's now broke. The friends have gone away, and of course, then a famine comes. So we don't have a lot of famines here nowadays, because the way we handle all of our food is all grown. But a famine comes on the land, and there's just not enough food. And so he gets the only job he can find, which is feeding pigs. And he's a Jew, and so pigs are not part of your world when you're a Jew. But it's a job that he can have. And he's feeding the pigs, and he's feeding the pigs these pods of whatever. And he's looking at them going, I wish I didn't have to give these pigs all of this food because I could really use some of this right now. But he'll get in trouble if he doesn't feed the pigs. So he feeds the pigs, but as he's standing there, he's going, what am I thinking? You know, my dad, the guys that work for my dad, at least they get to eat. They get paid well. You know, I don't deserve, I'm not worthy to be called son anymore. But maybe if I go back to my dad, I mean, I was pretty disrespectful. But maybe if I just go back and say, hey, Dad, I'm not, you don't have to call me son, because I know I've been a jerk, and I don't deserve that. But if I could just get a job, I will work hard, and I would really appreciate that. So that's his plan. So he goes back, and as he's coming down the road, his father's sitting out on the porch for whatever reason, and he looks up from quite a ways away, and he sees his son coming, and he hops out, and he runs down the road, and the son comes, and the dad he's so happy to see his son because his son's alive, right? And the son comes, and as dad hugs him, he kind of pushes away a little bit, and he says, so he returned to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son and embraced and kissed him. His son said to him, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you. I am no longer worthy of being called your son. And when he was thinking to himself, I'm going to read that verse to you, he said, I will come home to my father, and I'll say, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant. I am no longer worthy of being called your son. But his father said to the servants, quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet. Kill the calf that we have been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast, for this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found. And so the party began. So here's our question. Was the son right? After disrespecting his dad so much, was he worthy to be called son? Truth is, he really wasn't worthy, was he? Had he totally disrespected his dad? Totally, right? Dad, I don't care about you. I don't care about the fact that you earned all this money and you have to live on this. This is your money, not mine. But I want mine, and I want it now. And then I went and spent it in a way that was not even closely respectful for all the work you did to get it. So is he worthy? No. But what does his dad call him? What does dad call him when he came back? Son of mine. Yeah. Even in the disrespect, the dad's love never faded. So now we go to the other son. So we got the older son, and he has stayed home, and he has worked. He's been working on the farm, been doing all the stuff that he was supposed to do. Sweating in the summer, freezing in the winter, taking care of the crops, working with the livestock, doing everything. So when he comes in and he's like, to one of the servants, he's like, hey, what's going on? Why is there music? Why are we having a party? It's the middle of the week. In fact, it's in the afternoon. What's going on? And the servant said, your brother is back, and so we're celebrating. Okay? So now the older brother was angry. It says the older brother was angry, and he wouldn't go in. He was ticked. He was like, I am not my brother, a disrespectful scumbag. I'm not celebrating him. And why are we having a party? Why is he getting the fattened calf? But his father came out, and his father begged him. He replied, but the young man replied, all these years I have slaved for you and never once refused to do a single thing you told me to. And all that time, you never gave me even one young goat for a feast with my friends. Yet when this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf. I'm not going in there, Dad. No, thank you. And his father said to him, look, your son, you have always stayed by me, and everything I have is yours. We had to celebrate this happy day, for your brother was dead and he's come back to life. He was lost. And Jesus was talking to, remember, the Pharisees and those of the religious law who thought they had it all dialed in. And his main point was, I came to seek and save the lost, guys. But this is the sub point in here. The faithful son said, by his actions that he had proven, that the younger son had proven that he's not worthy to be your son. But by my actions, I have proven I am worthy to be your son. That was his thinking, right? He is proven by his life choices and his actions that he is not eligible to be son anymore. I've been here. And everything he said was true. I am worthy to be your son. And his dad says, I love how you've lived. I smile as I see your success. And I'm not taking away any of your reward. But you are mistaken. You became my children. You both became my children when you were born to me. My love for both of you has never wavered. It wasn't that he didn't appreciate what the son had done. And it wasn't that he was not going to reward that work. He wasn't going to take from the son who had done all the work and hand that all to his other son. All that was going to be his. And he appreciated it. And he was aware of it. But the mistake was thinking that the love was coming based off of the approval. You have to step it back. When that little babies, those boys were in this mommy's tummy, that's when the dad fell in love with the boys. And that love doesn't ever change. That love goes with. So here's the thing. Jesus is not put off by our lostness or our worthiness less. Nor is he impressed by our worthiness. In fact, his love and everything he does concerning us is one-sided. It's unilateral, not bilateral. Does that make sense? It's unilateral, not bilateral. We're gonna use Abraham to explain this. So we're gonna just read certain passages with the story of Abraham because it's like 15 chapters or whatever. Now, you were supposed to be, if you can imagine, can you use your imaginations? Right here, there was supposed to be a 15-foot balloon. Okay? A 15-foot weather balloon. 15 feet is taller than a basketball hoop, so probably the top of the white. And there was one here last night, wasn't there, McKenna? Yeah, so 3 weeks ago, I bought this weather balloon. And if you blow a weather balloon up to 15 feet, and one of your granddaughters, who you invited to come because we thought it would be fun, and it was, somewhere over here, there's a sharp item. That's all we know. So this blew up, and McKenna was laying on the ground crying because it scared you half to death, right? And Leighton was feeling very shameful. So she ran over there because I told them, be careful, it will pop. And I was sitting here, and I'd been planning for 3 weeks to use this illustration. And you cannot get another one of these from Amazon overnight. I checked.
We could buy a new one.
Yeah, but not overnight. And I sat in this chair with my arms behind my back, and I did not say anything. After it popped. She was crying. She was terrified. She was feeling very sad. And I said, come here. McKenna came and hugged me, held her. And I said, Lathan, come over here. Come here. Because she was feeling very guilty and very sad. And I was like, balloons can be replaced. Illustrations can be replaced. But my love for you does not change. Right? Which seemed very close to what we were talking about today. We are going to. All right. So, if you would pretend that there's a 15-foot balloon over here, and you should be wondering, what is he going to do with a 15-foot balloon? Why? It was just under the light. I don't think I blew it up all the way because I didn't want it hitting the light. All right, so Abraham. So Abraham is a major character in the Bible, right? Because God was going to, through the lineage of Abraham, is, for one, the Jewish people, King David, and then who is the ultimate most important person that comes from the line of Abraham? Jesus, right? And so God, way back, a couple thousand years before, is telling Abraham that the world is going to be blessed through his offspring. So Abraham God comes to him when he's about 75, and he says, I want you to move from the land of your family. You're going to move to a land that I am going to show to you. And I'm going to give you this land for you and for your descendants forever. And so he goes to the Middle East, what we now consider Israel, and he's traveling there down to Egypt, some places. And God speaks to him a couple different times, and he says, I am going to bless you, and you're going to have so many kids, so many descendants, that you will not be able to number them. If you were able to number the stars in the heavens, you'd be able to number your descendants. That's pretty cool. That's pretty big. But as he goes along, he doesn't have any children. So after about 10 years of being promised, and you are now like in your 70s, 80s, right? You don't have any kids. You start to go, So God comes to him one time and he says, hey, Abraham, love your brother. And Abraham is like, well, yeah, but you've promised me all of this, and yet everything I have is going to be given to one of my servants because I don't have any kids. Like, God doesn't know, right? But he feels like he needs to remind him. And then verse 4 of chapter 15 says, and the Lord said to him, no, your servants will not be your heir, for you will have a son out of your own who will be your heir. Then the Lord took Abram at that point, outside, and he said, look up into the sky and count the stars if you can. And this isn't looking up in the sky from Portland. Picture being out in Central Oregon, out by a lake in the middle of the night, looking up at the sky. And he says, look up into the sky and count the stars if you can. That's how many descendants you will have. And Abram, who's going to be Abraham, believed the Lord. He said, okay, I believe you. And the Lord counted him as righteous because of his faith. Now, we're just going to make this quick little side note. Doesn't that sound kind of familiar? Jesus died on the cross to pay the penalty of our separation from God because of our sin. In John 3:16 it says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, Jesus, who was the descendant of Abraham, so that whoever believes but have what? Everlasting life," right? Abraham believed what God said, and it was counted as righteousness. We believe the work that Jesus did on the cross, and that's counted as our righteousness. That's just a side note for the day. That's not what we're really talking about. But Abraham believed God. So how did he do with that? Well, there were times when, because Abram was married to Sarah, and Sarah was his half-sister, and he was nervous about things. She was very beautiful. So he goes down to Egypt at one point, and he says, "Hey, tell everybody that you're my sister, because I'm afraid you're so beautiful that they're going to kill me so they can marry you." And she's like, "Okay." That was the deal that they made. So he's done that before. So now God has promised him that he's going to, be have this land. He's going to have this son. And yet Abraham still kind of struggles with all this stuff. And at one point, Sarah says to him, "I'm like old. I've gone through menopause. I'm not going to have any kids. Maybe you should take my slave girl and marry her, and then you can raise up offspring that way." So Abram, that's what he does. And of course, that causes a lot of tension in the family. But that's not what God had in mind. And so he comes back. Oh, no, excuse me. He hasn't done this yet. The Lord comes back to him. Let me see where I'm at with it. Yes, right here. The Lord comes back to him and recommits this promise to him. So this is before he's had Isaac, or before he's had the Ishmael with his slave girl. The Lord told him, "I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land as your possession." But Abraham replied, "O sovereign Lord, how can I be sure that I will actually possess it?" The Lord told him, "Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a turtle dove, and a young pigeon." So he's going to present a sacrifice, because God is going to make a covenant with him. So Abraham presented all of these to him. He killed them, cut them, each of the animals down the middle, and laid the halves side by side. However, he didn't cut the birds in half. So it's like this. So in the Middle East, a lot of different customs. We know that one time when they were making a contract, that they, this is in Ruth's day, Ruth and Boaz, you might remember, and the guy makes a deal that he can have Ruth, and he gets the land that goes with her. And so they're doing this land contract, and when they make the agreement on the payment and everything, he takes off, the guy takes off his shoe, his sandal, and gives him the sandal. And that is like the sign that we agreed on this contract. So now Robert's my buddy back here, sitting in the back row. Wave, Robert. He loves me for this stuff. So Robert is in real estate. He's probably the best realtor in the city of Portland, by the way, if you need a realtor. But Robert, we have done a few contracts together over the years, correct? And when we are doing real estate contracts in Portland, are those unilateral or are they bilateral? They're what? Oh, I'm going to tell you you're wrong. They are bilateral, 2 people, right? So do I not? So if there's somebody selling it, am I wrong? Fair enough. See, that's why I use a realtor. So in the midst of all this entanglement that we have in the current world we live in, there is a buyer and a seller. And when I'm buying a house, I am committing to the buyer, say the house is $300,000, I'm going to give you $300,000, and he is going to give me the title to that house, right? Both people. It takes two of us to make this one work. And one of the ways they did it in the Middle East was they would do, you take the animals and you, animal sacrifice, they chop it in half and they put half of the ram over here and half of the ram over here. And then the people walk together, and in the middle of that, we would shake hands. They probably didn't shake hands back then. But that's where they would make that covenant, that promise, that agreement would be between the parts of the sacrifice. Okay? Something we don't really understand very well, but that's how he's doing it. So God tells Abraham, lay out this stuff. And so Abraham is expecting to be making a covenant with God. And Abraham's got the animals out there, and he's waiting. And he's waiting. He starts to get tired. Starting to get kind of dusk. And the vultures start coming down, trying to get the animals. So he's driving off the vultures. Have you ever, just another side note, have you ever noticed God's timing is not always what you would like it to be? Am I the only one that has ever noticed that? His timing is his timing, and it's not my timing. All right? So Abraham is like, I did what I said. I thought we were going to do this thing. So the vultures swooped down to eat the carcass, but Abraham chased them away. As the sun was going down, Abraham fell into a deep sleep, and a terrifying darkness came over him. I need to click slides. And the Lord said to Abram, you can be sure that your descendants will be strangers in a foreign land, where they will be oppressed as slaves for 400 years. Where is that at? Land of Egypt, right? But I will punish the nations that enslaves them, and in the end they will come out with great wealth. As for you, you will die in peace and be buried at a ripe old age. After 4 generations, your descendants will return here to this land, for the sin of the Amorites has not yet warranted their destruction. But it's coming. So it's going to be 400 years. The people are going to come out of Israel. Who's going to lead them out of Israel? Moses, right? The plagues, crossing the Red Sea, all that stuff. So God tells him 400 years ahead of time, that's what's going to happen. The sun went down and darkness fell. And this is when you have to use your imagination, okay? Because I was going to have somebody come up, like Johan, and we are going to pick up this 15-foot balloon. No. So, using your imagination. So, Abraham has fallen asleep. He either wakes up or he's in a vision. He sees this, and he sees God coming. And the point I wanted to make was that if I had little army men up here, which is what I was going to have, and this giant balloon, and the balloon was representing God. And it says it was like smoke and fire, which reminds me of when God took him out of Egypt with the cloud and the fire. Anyway, passing through this, God passed through. He didn't meet with Abraham in the middle and shake hands and say, let's make a covenant together. The flaming passed between the halves of the carcasses. So the Lord made a covenant with Abram that day. The Lord made a covenant with Abram that day. But it was just the Lord making a promise to Abraham. Because little army man, 15-foot weather balloon, what did Abraham have to make a covenant with? With the God of the universe. 7 trillion stars, or 7 trillion galaxies. So God passes through. He makes that covenant that day, and he said, I have given this land to your descendants all the way from the border of Egypt to the great Euphrates River, the land now occupied by the Kenites, Kizzites, and a whole bunch of ites. So, unilateral or bilateral covenant? Unilateral. Because Abraham was giving nothing. God was just promising. Enough for you, balloon. So, Abraham goes on, because right now he still has not had a son yet. So when he makes that covenant with God, now he believed him that he was going to have that son, right? And he believed him now, that because God said, I'm going to give you the land, and he says, well, how do I know that's going to happen? God does all of that. So he's had this experience with the God of the universe, but he doesn't have a baby. So then he sleeps with his slave girl and gets a child that way. And then he's like, God, how about this? And God's like, well, no, that's not really what I had in mind, was it? Because he was impatient. So then he ends up having a son. And in this process, there's another time when they go to another area where he says, Sarah, tell them that you're my sister, because they're going to kill me. Okay. Does he have a son yet by her? No. Can he die yet? No. Because the God of the universe has said, you're going to have a son, an offspring, and he's going to, start this whole big lineage thing. But he still has these struggles, right? Just because he's met with God and he has all this, he still is a man, and he struggles. So he has these up and down kind of things, and eventually he does have the son. And when his son gets to be about teenage years, God says to him, hey, Abraham, I want you to take your son, your only son, the son whom you love, Isaac, and I want you to take him to a mountain I'm going to show you, and I want you to sacrifice him. Like on the altar, sacrifice him. So Abraham, he gets his son, he gets some servants, and it's about a 3-day journey. They travel, and they get to the place, and on the 3rd day of their journey, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. So this is what he says to his servants that are with him. He says, stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will travel a little farther. He and I, will worship there, and then we will come right back. We, singular, plural. Plural. 2. So I'm going to go up on the mountain, I'm going to sacrifice him, and we're going to come back. Because at this point, he believes what God has told him so much that he believes he's going to raise him from the dead or something. So the two of them walk on together. Isaac turns to his dad and says, Father, yes, my son, we have fire and we've got wood, but where's the sheep for the burnt offering? God will provide a sheep for the burnt offering, my son, Abraham answered, and they walked on together. So you think, oh, well, maybe he's thinking God's not going to really do this. But they get up on the mountain, he builds the altar, and his teenage son, Abraham's over 100 years old, and his teenage son, when you're 100 and some years old, you think you can wrestle down your 15-year-old? No. Isaac climbs up on that thing. He somehow trusts his dad. He's got the wood, he's got the knife, and Abraham knew, he knew in here somehow that they were coming back together. And as he brings the knife up, God speaks to him and says, don't, stop. Abraham, stop. You passed the test. There's a ram in the bush. Grab that. That's the sacrifice. We see kind of a similar thing with Peter. So Peter, do you remember when Peter's a fisherman, and the guys are out fishing, and he's heard about this Jesus guy, and Jesus comes out, and there's this giant crowd that has amassed by the water's edge, and he's teaching them. It's a big group. And so he says to Peter, hey, could you take me out in your boat a little way offshore and kind of create this little natural amphitheater? You know how water you can hear a voice carrying on the water really easy. So he backs up, and Jesus finishes preaching, and the guy had been fishing all night. They didn't catch anything. So then Jesus, after he's all done preaching, says, take the boat out and drop the net down and catch some fish. And Peter's like, Jesus, we've been out all day, dude, all night. Okay? We were done. We were getting ready to fix our nets when you came. I don't really... Okay. All right. We're not going to catch anything, but if you say so, he takes the boat a little deeper, throws the net in the water, and then he's got this catch of fish that is shocking. It's not just shocking, it's miraculous. And how do we know it's miraculous? Because as they're trying to pull this thing in, and as the other guys come out to help, he doesn't go, man, this is one of the best catches of fish I've ever had. He turns to Jesus and he goes, this guy is somebody. Maybe this guy is God. Because this does not happen. And how do we know that he's seeing that? Because he turns to Jesus and he says, depart from me, I'm a wicked man. So in that moment, it's a lot like Isaiah the prophet. Remember when Isaiah is taken up to heaven in a vision, and he's in the throne room, and his response to being in the throne room of God, and the angels are crying, holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. The whole world is filled with his glory. Isaiah is like, woe is me. I'm a man with unclean lips, and I live among a people that are unclean. This is not good, because you are holy and I am not. And so God says, hey, angel, take an altar, take a coal from the altar that's in front of us, and put that on his lips, make him holy. So Peter, he's like, sure, he's a sinful guy. Who knows how broken he is, like all the rest of us. But in that instant, he understands divinity, and he says, depart from me. That's his response. I am sinful, depart from me. And then Jesus says, you're going to be fisher of men. So he becomes one of his disciples, one of his three best friends. We get towards the end of the Gospels, and Jesus is getting ready to go to the cross, and he tells, hey guys, I'm going to die tonight, be taken, right? And they say no, and Peter says, no, even if everybody else, he says they're going to deny him. He says, even if everybody else here denies you, I won't deny you. And Jesus says, well, Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times tonight before the cock crows. Before the rooster comes up, you're going to deny me 3 times. So Jesus is taken. Peter follows from a distance, and they say, aren't you one of his disciples? No, I'm not one of the disciples. A little bit later, are you sure you're not one of them? You sound like them. You're from Galilee. No. 3 times. No. And one time he swears, I won't do it here, but he's like, I am not. I do not know that man. And Jesus looks at him. And Peter was sick. He was sick of himself. He was sick inside, and he hated himself. And he crawled off and went to his own little hole. And then Jesus died on the cross, just like he said. Now, Jesus had told him, he said, after I come back, strengthen your brothers. You're going to come back to me, strengthen your brothers. Well, they run into, Jesus comes back a few different times, but the last time that we have, Jesus is resurrected, and he's come back, and the guys are out fishing. Because they were fishermen, and they were back out fishing. And guess what? They'd been out all night and caught nothing, right? So Jesus comes up on the shoreline, and he starts a fire, and he calls out to the guys, hey, how's the fishing going? You know how everybody does that, right? Catching anything? How's the fishing going? No, we're not catching anything. And he says, toss the net out on the other side. Or toss it out again, I don't know, whatever he said. Do you know this story, don't you? So did they throw the net back in the water? Yes, he said, throw the net back in the water. So they threw the net in the water. And deja vu. The net is full of fish. The net's tearing. It's another supernatural catch. And John says to Peter, Peter, it's Jesus. So here's Peter. What was the last thing that Peter did to Jesus? No. He denied him, didn't he? How do you think Peter felt about his sinfulness? Do you think he felt worse when he was just this dude? Or do you think he felt more sick when he denied Jesus and watched him die and wouldn't stand up and say he knew him? I'm going to guess that Peter felt more sick about his sin, about denying Jesus, than anything he'd ever done in his whole life. But this time, okay, so this is the difference. The first time Peter went, I recognize my sin, and what do I want to do? Get away from me because I am wicked. But now he knows Jesus, and he knows his love for him and for people. So this time, what does he do? He jumps out of the boat and starts swimming in. Instead of saying, Jesus, go away from me because of my sin, he said, Jesus, I want to be near you. Because he understood Jesus' love. It's that same kind of love. You've probably experienced this if you've had kids. So my granddaughters, when they were younger and before I had hurt my knee, but they were like 2 and 5, and they would love to be out in the backyard, and we played a game. And the game was, I chase them, and if I catch them, I pick them up, and I spin them around. They loved that game, right? And I pick them up, spin them around, and then they would like, spin me again, Grandpa, spin me again. And then they would run, and so they're running from me, but they would say, because there's 2 of them, they would say, chase me, catch me, spin me as they run. And then they run slow enough. I'm like, hey, I can't catch you anymore. They run slow enough because they want Grandpa to scoop them up. And they lift up their hands, and I scoop them up, and I put them on my shoulder, and I spin them around until I almost fall over. And they're like, yeah, right? So today, what I'd like to do, if you're up to it, is I'd like to lead you in some statements of truth where we renounce the lie, and then we state the truth, and then we and then we ask God for something. And so in your little sheets, you have little sheets of paper. Did anybody open it beforehand? I want to know. Man, you guys, oh, yes. Jeremy passed them all out for me, and then he cheated and opened it. All right. Yeah, they were stapled, right? So you can unstaple them. You can rip it open. Oh, yours wasn't. Oh, you had my copy. Okay. What? Yeah, Jeremy, you have another one my wife can have. If not, you can read it up here, Rochelle. So it's the same thing that's up here. I'm going to read what we're going to do. So then you can choose to partake in it or not. I renounce the lie that my sin, my screw-ups, and my awful choices somehow have the ability to make me unworthy of Jesus' love. I renounce or I disagree with the lie that worthiness and Jesus' love ever belong in the same sentence. I renounce the lie that I can increase Jesus' love and acceptance of me by earning his approval. It's a lie to believe that I can earn God's love by doing impressive things for him when he fully loved me as I was formed in my mother's womb. The truth, while it is true that I am his masterpiece, created to do good things, and God does smile and is pleased with me when I walk in the identity he gave me before I was even born, but it cannot add 1 ounce to his sea of love in which I swim every day. I accept the truth that before I was even born, that I was intimately loved by my Heavenly Father, and that as I live my life, Jesus has been relentlessly, recklessly pursuing me with his love. And then a prayer. Now I choose to run slow because I want you to catch me. Jesus, right now I choose to turn to you and raise my little arms and say, swing me, Jesus, swing me. So, anybody that wants to participate in that, I would encourage you, you can say it loud or you can whisper it quietly, but I would say it out loud. There's some power involved because, as we talked about a couple weeks ago, we wrestle not with just flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers that are part of this world. And speaking the truth out loud, I think, is a really good thing. So if you want to join me, I'm going to read that out loud, and you can read it with me, but read it with your heart. I renounce the lie that my sin. Okay, we'll do it like McKenna wanted to do it. I will read a phrase, and then you guys can read that phrase back. I renounce the lie that my sin, my screw-ups, and my awful choices somehow have the ability to make me unworthy of Jesus' love. I renounce the lie that worthiness and Jesus' love ever belong in the same sentence. I renounce the lie that I can increase Jesus' love and acceptance of me by earning his approval. It is a lie to believe I can earn God's love by doing impressive things for him when he fully loved me as I was formed in my mother's womb. While it is true that I am his masterpiece, created to do good things, and God does smile and is pleased with me when I walk in the identity he gave me before I was even born. but it cannot add 1 ounce to his sea of love in which I swim every day. I accept the truth that before I was even born, that I was intimately loved by my Heavenly Father, and that as I live my life, Jesus has been relentlessly, recklessly pursuing me with his love. Now let's close our eyes. Now, Jesus, I choose to run slow because I want you to catch me. Jesus, right now, I choose to turn to you. I raise my little arms and I say, swing me, Jesus, swing me. Johan, you want to come up? Lord Jesus, it is impossible for us to fathom your love for us. Lord, but I know it is the truth that you want your people to know how much you love them. And God, we ask that you would bypass the frailness of our flesh, and that you would put in our hearts your love, that we could experience it for real. And Lord, believing that, Lord, we respond. This is our song that we're going to worship and sing back to you.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, He chases me down, fights till I found reason 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, He chases me down, fights till I found reason 99. I didn't earn it, I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, we chasing me down, fight till I'm found peace. God, I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it. Give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Church, go in peace. We love you. Love one another. All right, take care.